Hello and welcome into my short workshop on how to set the goals and make them successful in 2024. And I know that there may be a lot of materials out there telling you how you should be setting up the goals. So in this presentation, it's not about unnecessarily how to make and set up and what goals to set up, because it's only you that you know that. But it's what is the mindset and psychology around setting up the goals, and why you should have goals or intentions or whatever you want to call it for the year. So I have seen a lot of things online and in social media. It's like, I don't set up the goals. I have the same goals as I had last year because I didn't manage to get where I wanted to be, or nothing really happened for me, even if I set them. I set them in January and I don't look at them again, and all sorts of different kind. And I always say, if you want to find an excuse for poor behavior, or the same for like bad eating habit or whatever, you're going to find it. Like, you're going to have a research tells you that alcohol is okay. You're going to find the research that, well, setting a goal is whatever, right? You're going to find it because you're looking for it. So this is the workshop for those who think like, I want this year to be different. I have some really important goals for myself, for my relationship, for my health. And I really want to become that person who looks in December. So like, yeah, I managed to do a lot of the things, or at least some progress in that particular goal. So let's start it. And if you are in that kind of mood that, yes, I want to set up my goals for this year, then you probably the opportunity for you be actually successful is so much bigger and better than it is for people who don't set goals at all, right? And also looking at the progress. So one of the things I'm going to mention shortly in my presentation is to tell you that, we need to reflect, obviously, and there are different things that might have happened in 2023, but it's in the past, and a lot of people moved on and they already forgot about the new year and Christmas. But I think that still January is such a great month to use the energy of the new year and set up your intentions and your goals, and basically understand why you would achieve something. And successful people do set goals. Successful people do fail and are not successful in their goals, but they have this mental resilience not to give up. And that is the key. No matter what you set, even if it is, you think, oh, still, I don't know, lose weight. And maybe you look at your scale in December, so like, well, it doesn't look great, is it? So people don't give up, but they continue with that, right? And it's just a question about how I want to go differently this year about it. Doesn't mean anything about you. Doesn't mean that you're not a good person because you haven't done it. What it means is like, it's not about also the kind of the pressure culture about goals. Like, you don't have to set anything. So this workshop is for those people who do want to change something in their life, be happier, healthier. So that workshop is for you. So let me share with you a presentation. Just briefly who I am. So I'm transformational health coach predominantly. So I help people to change their mindset around health, lose weight, but be healthy generally and happier. But I'm also kind of a mindset coach who likes working with people to give them clarity around maybe your career as well, or just general happiness in your life. We can be so overwhelmed with different things, feeling stuck and not having the clarity. I have been told that I have that kind of the ability to help people to get them out of that kind of the hole or some kind of the stuck situation they are in, or feeling that they are in. Okay, so let me share this with you, and I hope you can see it. So I will be here in a very small screen. All right, so setting goals for workshop. What is the key to success, right? So let's make obviously 2024 successful and maybe different this time. And it's a little bit of bio about me, but you can find more on my webpage, of course, and subscribe to this channel, right? So to have more materials like that coming in to keep you going, because accountability is really important as well. So as I mentioned, it's good to reflect on your past year. Past year is really rich in lessons learned, maybe some failures, maybe something that didn't go to plan, and just really feel into what is that you could potentially learn from it. I love journaling sessions. I love looking at the goals and where I was last year and compare this to where I am today and really process my thoughts about it. So you can have a few questions you can ask yourself. Don't spend a lot of time, I think, on it. I think that that's the phase that people omit because, oh, it's in the past, I can't change it. And it's true, but there's a lot of things you can potentially learn. And also important thing is we need to let go some of the things. So like, okay, so maybe this goal is going to take me more than 12 months, right? So I'm letting go of the time frame I have to fulfill something or I have to achieve something, because, you know, let's face it, 12 months is like kind of the provisional thing for some of the goals, right? So we have to acknowledge and being realistic about it. And what am I celebrating? Because people, I think, don't celebrate enough of the goals. Okay, so future you meditation. One of the things I try to do on a regular basis is that visualization on my future self. So how do I want to feel and maybe look, and what do I want to even, who do I want to be in December 2024? And there is YouTube, on this YouTube channel, there is a future you meditation, and you can obviously have that as well for you to guide you. I'm not going to do it, but quite often I do it with my clients, so that we can step into that energy. And this is not one-off work. This is the work you probably do it on a regular basis, because there is this kind of cognitive dissonance and something like between what you have right now and where you want to be. And it's obvious, it's natural, right? We are not there yet. But what we need to do is just realize you moving into that energy and start at some point rewiring your brain so that you impact your behavior. You will be feeling that it's not true because your body feels differently, but you can rewire your brain so that your behavior follows, which is, I will be talking about that in a minute. Setting your goals. So, I mean, there are so many systems to set your goals. I always say they let them be realistic. Let some of them be stretching as well. But in terms of goals, how many you should have, the rule is simple: one goal at a time. So I have several personal goals, but one of them is health, losing weight, getting fitter as I'm entering perimenopause, and that has actually been confirmed by my doctor. So I want to get really healthier because I really notice a lot of changes in my body, and that's my priority. And I'm going to focus on that for the next 3 months. So I have, you know, habits to support this phase of my life, so that I exercise, I lift weight, I eat healthier, right? Because that is my goal. Am I be doing other things? Yes, but they are priorities. Like health is my priority. So I'll give you an example. Today, one of the things is like I was sitting quite a bit in front of a computer over this weekend. So instead of even having a family meal or doing another workshop or thing, I just got up, and it was such a beautiful sun, and went for a 1 hour walk, because I knew that it's priority for my health, and I will feel so much better. I don't put anything else before that, and it's really priority. So for a lot of us, the goal is happiness. We don't realize, but we know that if we want to, for example, I don't know, we're going through the house refurbishment. I actually met with our friends, and they are going through the major house extension and refurbishment, and that will bring them happiness when that's all of that is finished, right? So for them, that is the goal. Yeah. So everything else had to be a little bit of a back burner, because they're doing this massive thing. which really will be quite challenging, right? Because if you have to live in the house, which looks like a building place, and then maybe even move out at some stage, and doing massive work and buying and spending a lot of money and waiting for people to come in. I mean, this is a lot of things. You're not going to put anything else on your calendar for the next probably 10 months, or not, if not even more, right? But for them, is that source that will have that. It's quite external, right? So I guess asking yourself how I can be happy in this process, like with a little bit more planning, maybe with the help from their friends, like accept the help, right? It's okay to, if somebody offers the help, they offer, but genuinely offer that. So make sure that you consider that and say, like, yes, we would like to stay with you, for example, or we would like you to, I don't know, bring us some empty boxes. Whatever that is, accept your help. So I guess it's just, how do you enjoy the process so that it still brings you some happiness, even the whole thing is a little bit more stressful. So happiness really is a combination of three things. And it's, I've just finished the course on happiness on Hallow app by Arthur Brooks, and it was really kind of refreshing my memory on some of the things. So it's enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. So when you have that understanding of that, then you can set your goals, which, yes, they have to be measurable, realistic, and they have to be time bound and all of that. But in any case, some of the components are really important, in a sense that we want to be happy, or at least 50% of the time, we want to be happy in the process to achieving our goal, right? We're not going to be 100% happy for that, because there will be things going wrong, and we have to acknowledge and be flexible with that as well. So there is a genetic baseline for the mood we are in, and it consists of genetics. So that includes also our thoughts quite often, but not only that, we have the thoughts which are influenced by circumstances we are in, and then we have our habits. So the next thing is setting your goals again. So predisposition for the happiness. So 50% of that are genetics. So certain tendency towards, for example, unhealthy behavior. So I have an example of the family members who had, like, they did like drinking excessive alcohol, but I want to quit alcohol this year, right? Or eating sugar, for example, right? So this is something we necessarily cannot change, but positively influence with our habits. 25% is the circumstance. So something we think that we cannot change, but we just only can change how we think about it. So difference in thinking about the circumstance, like, for example, okay, so I went to the gym, I ate healthy, but actually my weight on the scale didn't move, right? So what I'm doing wrong? And the answer is nothing. Yeah, you have to basically continue. So it's the way of changing your thought around. And quite often this is related to some external factors. Circumstance is always an objective thing. So it's neither good or bad. It's just the way we think about it. And we think, and there is obviously, this is the external factors. But quite often we cannot fully control the circumstance. However, we can potentially influence this in the future when we become aware of that with habits. And then we have 25% of that are habits. And this is basically behavior which will help us to achieve the goals. And guess what? It's about what you do every day. So they help us to manage genetics and indirectly impact our circumstances. So we have to think on purpose. So our circumstance could be also that I'm not in a great financial situation, for example. So it is what it is. That's the circumstance. Or I lost a job, or I'm not paid enough. The bills are high. What can I do to change that, rather than just be really, really feeling bad about it, right? You quite often that when you have that bad feeling, unless you become aware of that and wanted to change it, it's very difficult to take action. So as per research, there are 4 habits that matters mostly, and it's faith, family, friends, and work. And none of them is related to health, because quite often we take health for granted, right? When do we think about health? When we don't have it, right? So this is you know, once we are aware of it and that something goes wrong with our health, or we wanted to improve it, for whatever reasons, we become more aware of it, and then we develop habits in there. But according to the research, that is the shows that 4 habits that mostly matter to people are those. So achieving your goals. So when we have genetics and we have the circumstance which we cannot change right when we're in it, especially genetics, we have to put in habits in place that embrace enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. And all those 3 elements basically will help you to create a long-lasting effect. But overall, goals are usually difficult to achieve, especially the personal ones. And sometimes we feel like, especially those who work in a corporate, we have goals. Like, for example, you have to negotiate better, or you have to sell, have good sales, and this is your target, like, but obviously that's not going to come to you. You have to work on this, and you go there because that's the goal for a reason. And quite often we have loads of people, hopefully as well, in a corporation to help us with that. But we don't tell them at the end that something is wrong. We tell them in the process that I can't get that. I think it's too difficult for me. Can you help me? Right? So we looking for accountability, but also we are looking for this enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning within our own goals. So if I want to, for example, for my personal satisfaction, right, I want to lose weight, where is that enjoyment in there? And I can tell you it's not in a gym, right? If I think I'm going to go and be happy in the gym, at the very beginning, it may not be. And for a lot of people, gym is boring. Lifting weights is it's incredibly boring for a lot of people, unless it becomes your work or your personal trainer, and it's just something that you have that enjoyment. For a lot of people, it's not. So it's just basically something that you have to start changing the thinking about it, because it gives you satisfaction when you go to the gym, right? When you go on a regular basis, for example, when you regularly 3 times a week eat a healthy protein-based meal, that you really feel energetic with that. And satisfaction is not about getting satisfaction, it's keeping the satisfaction, right? So enjoyment is not a pleasure. It's not an instant thing, which basically our primal brain will tell you, get that cookie and you get a pleasure right now and a bit of enjoyment. But then are you going to be satisfied? Probably for a bit, but then you're going to be feeling shame and guilty. And then meaning. So it's really is beyond you. It's something deeper. It is the self-worth. It's something that helps potentially others too. So if you go to the gym, you look after your health. Is your family changing as well? And they want to, because when my husband goes for a walk, I feel motivated to go for a walk. When I go to the gym, my husband is motivated to do some exercises in the morning, which somehow we are basically helping each other in all of that. And that's, very much so, very kind of the meaning immediate in a kind of the circle where we live in. It could have a bigger meaning in the future, but I would just focus on something that is very, very close to you. And if you are not stuck or have little progress, so you need to address those 4 key habits. So faith, family, friends, and work. So it's important because one of the things, like people they want to change or they want to quit because it's all or nothing person. Like either I get this by the end of the month or I'm not doing this anymore. But most of the people I coach in the public health with diabetes, most of them, they had something going on in their life and they had to address it, right? But during the process, they have become aware of that. For example, some people were lacking creativity, so they were starting to draw and paint, and they were sending me paintings because they're like, oh, it's so long I have not been doing this, and now I come back to it. And suddenly cooking and eating healthier was easier because creativity somehow fills in that longing gap somewhere, right? So that could be in a sense of that kind of work, right? Or social life, friends. Can I meet with someone? So a lot of us don't even feel that kind of the need to connect with other people, to meet with them, to talk about them. Like we find it hard for some reason, and the more we are getting isolated, we're gonna feel that loneliness, and we will want to feel it in, probably with some not necessarily good behaviors. So it could be over drinking, overeating, or other things, right? How we are getting on with our immediate family and faith, so that spiritual enrichment, that we cannot control everything in our life. That for me, it is very connected to the religious, spiritual development, that I'm grounded, that I'm not creating kind of some empty things I'm chasing, but they do have the meaning, and I'm becoming a better person through that, even through my failures, right? I'm always worthy of love. So very important. So morning daily routine, and I was listening again to a podcast. I mean, I love a lot of good podcasts, and if you have not check mine, the Awaken Life Project. Absolutely, reach in a lot of different advice in a lot of different fields. But morning and daily routine, I think that has been a massive change for me, that I managed to do something for myself every morning. That requires obviously for me to get up earlier and do something for myself. So it could be journaling, listening, praying. I used to do a lot of meditation. Now I do a lot of prayers. So it is just not like in the vacuum and out in the universe, but I offer my prayers, and I usually pray intentionally for somebody or for something, right, as well, which basically makes it not everything about me, but also about others as well. So I'm able to offer that abundance. And it really has changed a lot in my life. And I was listening to a podcast telling that according to the neuroscience and how we are wired, a lot of that effect actually is in the morning. In a way, we change, like if you get up in the morning and you think on purpose that today I'm going to eat healthier, like I really make a commitment to that, and I think and I know, and I basically prompt myself how I'm going to think today on purpose. That is basically life changing, because that is where our brain is ready to take that all in, because it's not burdened with the whole day. And then similarly, things what happens at the end of the day, when we are leaving our things on the paper, we can have a calmer and better, deeper sleep as well. So plan it for at least 20-minute daily. And also, if you can, do it in the morning. Absolutely. You don't have to get up at 5 o'clock, but something, if you can do something for yourself in the morning, that would be fantastic. So, yeah. And pursue, so next 30 days, obviously the work, this is only a start of the work. And this is really in a nutshell. And this is the process I go through every day, and has been a life-changing. Yes, I have maybe not achieved everything I wanted, but I know some of the goals are longer. I'm okay with failing and unexpected things in life. I don't plan to be 100% always happy, because I know it's unrealistic and I will be very disappointed. So daily visualization and thought work. So visualization, it's not about like dreaming, but why not? It's really good. But I do have a vision board, something that I can look at and say like, oh, those are my goals. It really just the first thing in the morning, to visualize, and I just close my eyes for a little bit and visualize myself in the future. And I do a thought work. So what is the thought I'm thinking today, right? Or I want to be thinking. I'm a healthy person, so I will go to the gym. I'll go for a walk during lunchtime, and I have prepared some healthy lunch for myself, or I will have a healthy lunch, right? So that I'm prompting myself for the day. And that's a daily action as well, because it's all about having plans, but without action, it's not going to happen. So I really take a daily action towards my goal, and I have it in my calendar. I plan it, and I know that on this day I'm going to go to the gym, and this day I'm going to go to the gym. And I know that some people work very irregularly, and maybe this, but as I said, if you want to find an excuse, you will find it, no matter how much time you have. And then cultivate your abundance, do something for somebody else. And I think that is, again, life changing, because if it is becomes not only about you, I think we feel basically better, right? And it doesn't have to be a completely stranger. It could be something from our own family. If somebody like your husband, your wife, partner ask you to do something for him, for her, why don't you just say yes, without just the whole thing of why you cannot do that? But it also depends where you are, and obviously you don't want this, or offer the help as well, right? But also ask for help when you need it, right? And I think it's, for me, it definitely is getting rid of judgment of other people, no matter what they are and how they behave. Be a little bit more in their shoes as well, and really see things from their side. So that is my kind of the abundance I'm cultivating. And also counting all the achievements you've already made. You went to the gym yesterday, celebrate, even if that's a kind of one positive thought about it, that it's going to make a massive difference if you can do it. All right. Okay. So, yeah, so this is really short, because there isn't anything, probably, if you are interested in personal development and growth, there isn't any kind of a massive, extraordinary discovery in here. But you may ask, well, why some people achieve goals and some people don't? And I always say it starts with the setting them in the first place, because so many people don't do that. Then obviously having that mental resilience to do things every day towards your goal, if it's, and just having one goal at a time. And I think it's so important, because and it's the same thing at work. Like if somebody tells you in this quarter you have to do the 5, it's like, I can't do it. You know, honestly, you become overwhelmed and you just drop everything altogether. So why don't you just try one goal for whatever time, and see how you're getting on. And over the time, when your mental resilience increases in a way that, yeah, I failed, it wasn't good for me, but then I didn't give up. Okay, so I have already that habit to not give up and to continue. Then I can add another thing, right? Um, but honestly, having 5 different things doing at the same time is impossible. So although I'm saying, for example, for health, for me is, I can totally go with eating healthy, going to the gym, all in the same time, because I know I already have habits in different areas. But sometimes I start with the clients, they don't eat healthy, they have no habits whatsoever to go and move. So we start on one thing, and usually I started with food, like get your food right, right? Put in some walk, which you're already doing, but have a kind of consistent walking time every day, and that's enough, right? But get your food right in the first place and think about it. Look at around in terms of snacking and grabbing things, right? And whether that you can really fill in some of the gaps you may already have in your life, which could be feeling loneliness, isolated, not appreciated. Like there could be so many different things in terms of the emotional basis. And that really sometimes needs a little bit of help from coaching, for example. So contact me for one-on-one coaching if you want to change your life this year, if you want to get clarity, be consistent. And I just love helping people on various levels. And you can contact me via email, which is going to be here in my chat, in the show notes. Yeah, so this is it. It's not really a rocket science. And I think one of the most important things is actually, realizing some of those things, putting the goals on in your mind and wanting to do something for yourself this year, and then just doing it, right? But I know life is not always that easy. But if we want to find the excuse, we will find it. One of the things, and I think I mentioned that in my podcast, so please do look into the podcast, and I'll put the link in the show notes as well, is around how we give ourselves identity of not basically not wanting to change, or thinking like, I'm already that person, right? So I give myself of the identity of the person that I never gonna have time for X, right? So because that's who I am, right? So we already give ourselves identity, rather than putting this in a little bit of, what if I can change this year, and I give myself 12 months to do that, rather than it has to be overnight, right? Some of those thoughts and behaviors take a lot of time to be changed. So we have to look at that, and not giving ourselves the identity which put us in a kind of the lost position before we even start. That's not really what we want to be doing. You got this, right? You can do this for sure. And I hope to connect with you. And do subscribe to the channel. I hope to hear from you, how you're getting on. And I will be checking on you via a special video every month on how we're getting on with our goals for this year. All right, take care, and all the best.